back. I'm Michelle Hurley.
And I'm Tracy Ellis, and we are the Connection team.
And we will be talking to you today about the separation of one of your biggest assets, your home, post-divorce.
Yes, and we are going to be bringing this information based on our experience and how we've done it. I think we've done a pretty darn good job of it.
Not bad.
Actually. So this is really our experience, but we do advise you to seek counsel and get a lawyer if that's what you need to do, just to help you navigate through it.
Yes, and some of the key components that we've decided are, first and foremost, will make the process just that much easier, and the end result will be that both of you will be happy.
Yeah, and we like to call this segment Divorcing Your Mortgage.
So the law does state that after divorce, all family assets as well as debt is divided equally, unless you have an agreement, a legal agreement in place prior to purchasing the home that would state otherwise, or various things that come into play during your relationship that could sway the numbers to be more one-sided.
Yeah, and another thing to also consider, it's not just about dividing up the assets of your home. There is insurance policies, there's pensions, there's RRSPs, there's investments, there's inheritances, there's vehicles.
Yeah,
there's so much that all has a part play in that role of who's going to be getting what, and in a fair way that's going to work beneficial for everybody.
Yeah. And we actually highly recommend that before you start the process, you actually make a list of all of those things and what the monetary values are, and perhaps when they were all acquired in the relationship. Did some of them come into play before the relationship or during? And so that needs to be sort of established. It is, but establishing what all the assets are prior to starting is a really great place to start from.
Mm-hmm.
So one big misconception is the splitting of the assets when you're in our position going into a second relationship. It's very different than your original matrimonial home that you both purchased together. So that's something to be aware of.
Yeah, and I think that something that we have to really think about before we go forward is get an appraisal done on your property before you even get to that point, so that you know where you sit. Because property is not divided up just as the day that you move in. No. It's divided up based on what you've brought to that relationship.
Right.
In a second, so a blended family.
Yeah, if the home has accrued value 5 years after you moved in, then that's what the law looks at splitting, is the value that it is increased to. So unlike the matrimonial home, which is really automatically split in half, that's not the case. And many people think that going into a second relationship and they own the home and their spouse is moving in, that they're automatically going to look at possibly losing everything a second time.
Yeah. So again, the most important thing that we can advise you is to get it in writing. Write down, have that list that we talked about before.
Yeah.
Put a list together. In the time when you guys are getting along and everything is really rosy and great, that's when you want to discuss these issues, because they're not that easy to discuss at the end of the time. So get it in writing, get a list, get some advice, get an appraisal done on your property. Open communication
Very
is key.
important. Okay, so you've made your list, you're well prepared, you've gone to the bank to set up some financing, and what you discover is there isn't as much equity in the home as you thought.
Oh no!
That's a horrible thing, but it does happen. So the options for buying each other out may not be there. And if you've put the house on the market and the market's down and it doesn't sell, you can find yourself in a predicament.
It is a bit of a predicament.
There's a few options that you might want to look at.
Yeah, and there's a couple of things you might want to consider. If you have to, rent out your house. Both of you go find a different place to live and work out finances that way.
Wait till the market changes a little.
And hold on to it. Another option is what they call bird nesting, where you jointly find another place. Maybe you're going to buy it or you're going to rent it out, and you keep your home and you switch 1 week on, 1 week off.
Great option with kids, right?
Yeah, kids because then they don't have to leave. And you know, that probably would have been a good option for us. we would have both probably done that if we were able to. Fortunately, our house sold twice.
That's another story.
But you know what, that is definitely a good option. And you know what, to be able to do that and communicate with each other, to be able, that is so healthy for your children, because their lives are in turmoil as it is. So this is one way of keeping a little bit of a constant for them,
option.
where they don't have to be uprooted. And then of course the other option is
taking the loss, just selling it.
Just biting the bullet,
moving on.
Loss.
And sometimes moving on is more valuable than the money that you would lose.
Yeah, so you have to kind of weigh out those options. And do you put it in the lawyer's hands, or do you just take the hit and divide it up between yourselves and just say, you know what, let's make it work that way.
So we have not covered all of the bases on this conversation
absolutely
at all.
not.
So there's many other things that we want to bring forward to you.
No, there's a lot that we're going to discuss. So why don't you join us with our next episode, and we're going to get up close and personal with the Connextion team, and we're going to just kind of share our experiences, how we've done it, and we've navigated through it and successfully have got some healthy relationships because of it.
Yeah. So join us, and we look forward to having you back.
Ciao.
Bye for now.